All right, if you're watching live on YouTube, I hope you join me over here on Zoom, just getting some things set up. We're live on Zoom. The link on our Facebook page. Join us. And after the episode's over, stick around, talk, meet and greet. Love to hear from you. All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Blake Anderson. Welcome back to another episode of Increase. This is episode 54. All right, hopefully you've been following us for a while. If not, hit the like, subscribe, follow buttons, no matter where you're watching, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Love to hear from you. Follow along. And if you've been with us from the beginning of the year, you know we've been talking about pushing into leadership. Last week, we talked about making good decisions and checking your assumptions. And this week, I want to really talk about a phrase that you've heard before: mo money, mo problems. You ever heard that? Mo money, mo problems. That was a phrase that came up in popular culture in the 90s. And, you know, in the entrepreneurship world that I'm in, and I meet with leaders, unfortunately, I hear leaders, especially younger leaders, just talk about their problems and complain about their problems and just keep thinking, if only I could solve this problem, I'll be home free. Then I won't have any more problems. Or one day I'll get past my problems. And I want to address this concept of problems. Because if you're still complaining about your problems, then there's something that you're missing out on. And there's probably some of your mental math is not likely to take you to the places that you're trying to get to. So I want to address three fallacies when it comes to problems. I want you to think about your thought process. Okay. Have you ever thought this way? Have you ever felt this way? We've got to address fallacies in your thinking. We've got to correct some stinking thinking if we want to get you on the pathway to success. Fallacy number one is the thought that when I make it, I won't have any more problems. Oh man, if I could just get there, then I'll be home free. There'll be no more problems. Life will be easy. Fallacy number two: problems are a sign that something's wrong. Well, something must be wrong around here. We keep having all these problems. That's fallacy. We got to correct that thinking. Fallacy number three: rich and successful people have it easy. They must not have any problems. They have no idea what it's like to be me and how hard it is for me down here on the lower levels of society. That's a fallacy. We've got to correct that. If you ever want to be rich and successful, then you've got to embrace and understand what rich and successful people have embraced. So we're going to get into that. So have you ever thought that way? Have you ever felt that way? I know I have. Problems are not fun most of the time. We call them problems because they're inconvenient. There's something we hadn't considered, something we hadn't thought of. We have a problem with our thinking. We hadn't checked our assumptions. And it'd be easy to say, oh, it didn't go right. I just wish someone would take care of it. I wish it was somebody else's problem. I wish I didn't have this problem anymore. Well, here's what I want you to understand is that to become successful leader, successful in business, growing money, you have to embrace the fact that problems are often the doors of opportunity. Your door to the next level in your life will come in the form of a problem. And so we've got to think about problems in a completely different way. So I want to replace your fallacies with three truths. So first, the fallacy was we thought, well, when we make it, we won't have any problems. Well, here's the truth about the matter. There will be problems at every level. When you finish the problems of today, you will experience the problems of tomorrow. At every level, you will experience new problems. Every level will have problems unique to that level, unique to that situation, unique to that circumstance. And so there's nothing that you can do today to prevent yourself from having problems in the future. You're just going to have problems in the future that maybe you've never thought of, maybe you've never experienced, maybe you've never encountered. And it may not be because you're doing anything wrong, but because it's associated with that level of growth. Second fallacy: problems are the sign that something's wrong. Well, here's the truth. Sometimes problems are the sign that something's wrong. Sometimes you made a bad decision. Sometimes you didn't check your assumptions. Sometimes there is something wrong that needs to get fixed. Problems, though, are oftentimes that something is going right. That something's going right. Because here's the thing, growth creates new problems. As you grow, you're going to run into new problems that you didn't have at the lower level. As you grow into the next level, you'll face next level problems. You've never faced them before because you've never played at next level. Okay? Your next destination, promotion, business, opportunity will have problems that you have never considered. It may be that you've done everything right, and it has created new problems. So as our company has grown, I've had to remind my leaders in meetings, guys, we did everything right. And we have these problems because what we did was we pressed in through our growth into a new level of business. And our old way of doing things couldn't handle the new level of business that we'd stepped into. So yeah, it hurts. Yeah, it's a struggle. Yeah, it's created a lot of work that we didn't plan on, but it's the result of doing everything right. And you oftentimes don't know what won't work at the next level until you get there. So business builders, leaders, when you create a system, you don't know what part of the system won't work until you apply pressure to it. And it's the pressure that comes from growth. So you create a system in your business or your team, it starts working really well. You start getting increase for it. And then undoubtedly you run into a problem. Because that problem is the growth and the volume putting pressure and intensity on your new system, and it's breaking the things that are weak that you weren't aware of. And so when you create a new system, expect that you're going to get growth, but expect that some things are going to break because you didn't anticipate and couldn't have anticipated the intensity and the problems that would come at that new level. Okay. Third fallacy. Rich and successful people have it easy. They must not have any problems. Newsflash. Rich and successful people have more problems than you do. They have the most problems. Here's the difference, though. They've learned how to solve their problems differently. They've learned how to handle problems differently. They make it look easy. They make it look like they don't have problems because they've mastered the art of dealing with problems. They know how to keep their calm. They know how to keep their cool. They know how to make strong decisions. They know not to rush into poor decisions. And so what has that done? It's that way of behavior, that type of thinking that's actually created the success. And then they've become successful. They have new problems, but you would never know because they've become professionals at handling problems. Your problems won't go away when you're rich and successful. You'll have totally new problems. There'll be problems with more zeros on the end. But if you can master the art of problem solving, if you can be comfortable when problems happen and you can make great decisions, you will be successful. You will find yourself in new places. And you will have become the person necessary to make success look easy. So don't assume for a second that rich and successful people have it easy and they don't have any problems. They have problems you've never considered. They have problems that you don't know anything about and they'll never tell you about it. But when you get to know them personally, or you start to achieve your next level of success, you'll see that every level has its own sort of problems. I was listening to a really great podcast the other day, the Wealthy Way podcast, Ryan Pineda, and he was interviewing Dan Martell. And they were talking about this exact subject. And Ryan Pineda said he realized a few years back he had a $100,000 problem. And at that point, that was a massive problem. And when he was complaining about it, he realized, you know what? I should be grateful. Because the fact that I have a $100,000 problem is proof that I'm doing something right because my business has grown to a point where it's created a $100,000 problem. And he said, when I get to a $10 million problem, as much as it might be a challenge, it'll be proof that I'm playing at another level. Be grateful for some of the new challenges you face. You've done something right to get there. You should pray right now for a challenge that's one day that scares you to death. Because that will have proven that you've reached a level of success that has created such a great problem. My wife and I were talking just recently about some of our current problems. And we realized, you know what? Think about this. 5 years ago, we could have never dreamed of having the problem that we have right now. We'd be so grateful for the circumstance that would have even created this problem that we would have been happy to solve it. And so we realized this problem is for this level. And here's what happens with every problem. Every problem presents to you wisdom, experience, and new tools and knowledge that you can only get by facing that problem. So when you run into your next problem, don't run away from it. Don't curse it. Don't get mad. Don't try to blame somebody else. See it as a gift, because the problem is there to teach you something. You've created it through not knowing, but you're going to learn something that you didn't know. And that something will likely create the next success and the next opportunity. So I want to leave you with the 3-part strategy. Okay. You got to change this mindset. All right. And you got to take this very seriously. 2024 should be about becoming the leader that you were designed to be. You need to take your leadership, your problem solving, your decision making to a whole nother level this year. If you'll do that, next year you'll have a whole new set of problems. You'll be playing at a level you've never been to. All right. Now you need to take this seriously. So your strategy should be this. Decide that when it comes to a problem, that instead of worrying, instead of freaking out, you're going to be curious. This is something new. Never experienced this before. This has the ability to give me a skill set and a wisdom that I had never gotten. So be curious in the problems, okay? What happens is when we freak out and we get worried and we put our head down and we start to white knuckle things, we've closed ourselves off from the creativity necessary to solve the problem, okay? Second thing, you need to be mature, okay? You need to work on your maturity. See, mature people know how to stay calm under pressure. They know how to handle themselves when a problem comes. They know that the problem over here doesn't have to affect the rest of my life. I don't get to mistreat my wife because I'm having a problem at work. I don't get to ignore my kids because I might have a problem with my wife. When the problem comes, it doesn't mean that I get to misbehave everywhere else in my life. And there's no excuse for poor behavior, even if it's a problem you've never faced. Mature people know how to be calm, have patience, rest in God, and make good, strong decisions. Okay? Maturity. You need to grow in it. And if you will, you'll face these problems in a completely different way. And then the third thing is you need to have determination. You just got to decide right now, when the problem comes, you will get through it. I'm going to a new level, and that new level will have new devils. It will have new problems. And when I get there, I know I am going to face those problems and learn what only I can learn when I face those problems. I am determined not to go backwards, and I will push through whatever problem I encounter on my way to success. If you have that determination, then there's no problem that can stop you. When you've made your decision, you will get there. Then there's no mountain you won't climb, no valley you won't jump over, no hurdle that you can't overcome. Determination, maturity, curiosity. Embrace those to your core so that you can see problems for the gift that they have the ability to be. You can see problems as the inevitable evidence of forward movement. And that you can understand that they are the doorway to the opportunity that you are waiting on. Make 2024 a great one. You're going to face problems you never thought of, but you're going to learn some things you never thought you knew you needed, and it'll take you to the next level. God bless you. Catch me next time in another episode of Increase. All right, folks on YouTube, I'm going to cut the live feed. Love to talk to you over here on Zoom. If you're on Zoom, give me just another minute. Let me get some things set up and we can chat some.